get twice that in order to put a cabin on.
Yeah, also, a thing like, there was an era also that they went through where basically the lake level did drop, and the lake level did turn into basically like almost like a cattail invested marsh kind of thing. And so that was a very awkward time for Lakewood, but obviously it's recurred, and I think they blamed it on the drilling of wells adjacent to it or something, or maybe they were drilling for oil and gas and things like that at another time. Harold?
This other story is some guy couldn't get down through, so he dynamited and he cracked the bottom of the lake.
Okay.
Yeah. And it went down the crack, and as the water went down the crack over years, it filled with silt.
Because they do talk about a layer of clay strata down lower. The assessor for the county went nuts because basically he had to send out bills like for 43,000, whatever I said, 40,000 or 42,350 lots, and who has all those and bills, and then ultimately, the Depression came along, people didn't have the money to pay, they were foreclosed on, they went back reverted back to the state, they became sand blows, et cetera, et cetera. So it's amazing what happened as a result of the Lakewood. Okay, Tom and Cheryl, why don't you come up and just do a thing about what happens when you buy property currently at Lakewood Club.
I think the only thing that maybe was mentioned about the tents, it sounds like in the article that there was 40 tents available for $2 a day or $10 a week, which is equivalent to $46 a day in today's money or $232 per week in today's money. So it'd be pretty expensive. We actually own some property that's across the lake on the other side. There are 7 lots over there. We bought it around 5 years ago. And Roger asked us to tell you a little bit about what we had to go through. We actually bought the property during the summer, and there was some kind of legal things that hadn't been signed off. Part of the property was bought from a tax sale. Part of the property was never signed off legally, so they went to the judge. The judge said what you have to do is you have to go to where the last known owner was, post something on the tree or the post saying that is there any bills that are due, and it has to sit there for 60 days. So we got to enjoy nothing for that whole summer. Other thing that maybe wasn't mentioned here, there's lots of rumors about Al Capone having some houses around here. And he had lookouts in the up floor, and he would sit down, and if there was somebody coming, he'd go in the tunnel and go to the next house.
Do you have substantiation on that?
No, I don't have any.
My folks who have been out here for lots and lots of years, like about 95, said Al Capone was never here.
No, I don't.
It was a great thing to tell people, and people love stories.
Yes, yep.
Here as well as anywhere.
You were talking about the lake. It sounds like several years ago they stocked the lake. And then a few years ago, and again, I don't know how many years ago, but it got so cold that it froze all the way to the bottom, and they lost everything in the lake. Our cottage, again, is across the lake, and we did extensive remodeling in there, and you were talking about the boards being one by whatever on the underneath. We did extensive remodeling, and when they came in and started looking at it, and the building inspector came in, the 2x4s, they were used 2x4s, but they're 4 foot apart instead of 2. There were no headers above the windows, and we essentially had to gut the whole thing and put it back together. You already talked about the heavy snow, and I think that's everything I had.
There's nothing I can add to that except to tell you how much we enjoy it here. We have 12 grandchildren, and when we were looking for a cottage, because I grew up, well, on a cottage down on the shore of Lake Michigan at the old channel, and we just wanted a place where our grandkids could grow up and play and have fun. We looked at Brown's Pond, cold and a deep drop off and not safe for children. We looked at, was it Hardy Dam? Hardy Dam, again, way up there on a cliff with a sheer drop down, not a place for children. And I had just about despaired of finding anything that we could afford. And then we found this. It was a fixer-upper, needed a lot of TLC, but the lake was shallow, and children can play safely. And you can almost whistle them in from any point on the lake if you have one of those athletic whistles, which we are going to be doing this summer. But they kayak, they swim, they just basically live in the water when they're here with us. There's nothing that makes me happier than waking up here and looking out and finding a heron swimming by, listening to the loons as they are migrating north or south in the fall. We have pictures actually of 3 deer that we took from our bedroom window swimming up the lake. That was something that just blew my mind. We enjoy the geese that are on the lake. We have had ducks nesting at the base of one of our trees. And what else do we see? Oh yes, we have pictures of an eagle that had his talons actually stuck in a fish right at the neighbor's house. We have pictures of this huge mature eagle right on the shore of Fox Lake eating his fish. Absolutely wonderful. We like the kingfishers. We watch the little tree swallows. It's just a great, great place to live, and it's quiet, except for the jet skis that every so often destroy the silence and the solitude, but it really is a quiet, restful getaway. And for us, it's only 7 miles from our home in town, 10 minutes away. And when I work at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp, it's just across the road. Great place. We love it.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Sharon. Any other questions, comments? I would urge you to look at all the material that we've kind of gathered here, because kind of, coming here is kind of like going to Pompeii. You try to figure out like an archaeological dig, where was what, etc. But when you go on the walk, the bathhouse was around there. The clubhouse sat on a hill. The steps would have come down toward us here. The campground was over there. There's one little shed over there, which you could say maybe is imitation of the tent city. And then there was the men's bowling building and things like that. And anyway, just lots of information. And so we will take, let's see, the walk is done. Mary Kay, the walk is being led by
Elizabeth and Randy.
Elizabeth and Randy. Raise your hands over there. Okay. And they will take you on a walk, and then we'll come back, and then there are some refreshments here after the walk. And yes.
We have T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
T-shirts if anyone wants them. We also have some. Thank you. We also have some of these, which are $3. They're a great placemat.
Pictures are beautiful.
Yeah, Elizabeth and Randy did this whole thing. They were great on this. It's the same thing as as the fold-up that I gave you, but now it's laminated and it's a nice little, and they're $3. And then we have postcards that Elizabeth's daughter
My
created.
daughter was looking at this particular picture here, this photograph of the clubhouse that sat right there on the hill. And she was telling me one day, she said, Mom, I wish I could have seen it in color. She does watercolor. So what she did was, her original picture right now is this big. What we did is we made it small. So here is the photograph, and here is her watercolor of it. So she's going to also participate in our arts and crafts that day, so it's going to be
Also, did everyone get the folder, the pass around folder? Okay, and then really the plastic coated mat things are really very fascinating, and they're a great souvenir kind of thing. And also, as I look over there, we have Ken Mahoney from the County Commission and Mary. Hello, hello. And what other dignitaries do we have? Am I missing some dignitaries? Anyway, let's take the walk. Oh, and also thank you to Oscar and Terry. Oh, yeah, okay.